So all stablecoins carry some level of risk to them. Okay, so right now we have. Let's look at the big three that have been around for a long time. You've got USDT, USDC, and DAI. And the only reason that these exist on PulseChain is because they were bridged in. So the actual tokens still reside on the Ethereum chain. They're locked up in a pool in the bridge contract. Okay, and then the thing you have on PulseChain now, it's not actually the real stablecoin. It's supposed to be redeemable back for that real stablecoin, but it's always typically worth $1 because of its redeemability. Now the risks there are the bridge risks, if any at all. Who has keys to that bridge? What happens? Oh, what about the centralization of those stable coins? What if Circle freezes them? What if ETH has some weird OFAC compliance thing they put against the bridge contract addresses, and now everybody's stuck in PulseChain and they can't get out because their transactions won't become validated on the ETH side. I mean, there's those bridge risks that exist with USDC, DAI, and USDT. There's other risks. We don't even have time to talk about them all. The weird, one quick example is DAI is highly centralized ownership with their voting power, and they can do certain things with their votes that could do harm to somebody they don't like, such as Richard. They could also.
Well, just on that real quick, how does an entity with whom we have no idea who they are, being the biggest holder of DAI, does that?
Okay, so it's not holding DAI; it's holding the Maker token, by the way, for the voting rights. Right, so it doesn't matter if you own the most DAI; it matters if you own the most Maker.
Okay, I wonder, what is the strategic play that just quickly, what is if there were something that was we're gonna make some change that would somehow hurt that wallet or its ability or whatever, could you just buy a bunch of Maker with some of the DAI and now vote yourself king? Is there any strategy there that's
so it's not about how can you strategically counterplay an attack against yourself. It's more, how do you avoid that situation completely altogether? And why are those capabilities in existence in the first place? Why is it that Maker can run their front end and just shut it down whenever they want to, when they feel their DAI is going to lose peg, they can just turn off their front end completely? Why is it that the auction process takes 6 hours, and there's actually a ton of risk during that 6 hours that nobody picks up any debt of a liquidation? And in a severe ETH black swan event, that could prove to be a catastrophe for DAI, right? So there are problems with DAI, and those problems were all recognized by the Liquidity team with USDL, and that's why Liquidity exists today, because DAI is not perfect and DAI has a whole bunch of flaws. It's not completely decentralized. And Liquidity said, you know what, all this is garbage. These aren't the reasons crypto was invented. Let's create something trustless, immutable, completely censorship resistant, that nobody can stop. Anybody can create these, and it's always fully backed and fully redeemable for $1 worth of collateral, right? And they, at any time, instantly. And that's why Liquidity did what they did, which in turn became why Liquid Loans created Liquid Loans Protocol with USDL, and why Power City created Earn Protocol to do the same thing with PulseX for PXDC. So these things, you position yourself in these sort of stable coins, you eliminate the bridge risk. You eliminate the OFAC stuff from ETH. You eliminate the voting that they can do for whatever reason, should they choose to, with their Maker tokens. You just get rid of all that risk completely. Now you have something that the community's created, that the community, that nobody can stop. And it just thrives as PulseChain thrives, right? That's the whole goal of PulseChain to begin with, right? Censorship resistance, immutable, trustless, unstoppable. That's why these things were created. In particular, Earn Protocol and liquid loans.
So the native stablecoins, like for example CST with Coast, versus what does it bring to the table versus Liquidity via liquid loans and Power City? Like what do they bring to the table that's different from each other?
So what's the difference between, say, something like PXDC and something like DAI?
Yeah, like why isn't everything just fiat on ramp native stablecoin versus mint stablecoins from
right.
the? Yeah.
Well, let me back up just a little bit. There are other stablecoins right now on PulseChain. So Coast stable token, CST token, is one of those things. It's a great, as far as centralized stablecoins go, that get you directly into PulseChain. It's a great option. But you just heard the word centralization come out of my mouth. So it comes with all those risks as well. You have to go in through a bank. The bank's going to hold those funds essentially. They're going to mint a ERC20 or a PRC20 that is supposed to be redeemable back for a stable coin should you choose. From that bank, you should be able to click burn and redeem it back for $1 worth of fiat. That's the risk, though, is all of the power resides with one institution who has all the admin keys. Okay, I'm not saying don't use them to off or on ramp. In fact, I do use Coast to on and off ramp. But you have to understand the risks. How long are you going to position yourself in those? What happens if that bank fails? So on and so forth. Understand those things and know what you're getting yourself into.
Well, just on the admin key part too, it's not like they can invalidate the coins. It's just that you can't. Maybe the worst that can happen is what you can't redeem them for $1 back. The bank fails, and then you can't get them through that particular piece. I guess what is a catastrophic failure for that?
Well, sure. If the bank fails, what are you going to get out of that stablecoin? It's not going to be worth anything. And that's when any stablecoin anywhere becomes non-redeemable, that's when people start to sell it down to zero. You've seen this with USDC when there was like a weekend when USDC started to depeg. It depegged down to 60 or 70 cents or something because they weren't allowing redemptions. There's something wrong with their redemptions. Well, the fear there was, oh crap, what if this lasts forever? What if the banks are insolvent? What if they go bankrupt and there is no money to get back out of these USDCs? So the biggest holders of USDC literally ran off to Uniswap or wherever and just swapped out of it as quick as they could. Okay, that's what happens when there's some sort of banking problem. So that's the biggest risk, though. That's literally the biggest risk. And I'm not saying that will ever happen. But by the way, CST does a great job of showing how many assets are backing the CST. So you can see a nice diagram that lists out we have this much US dollar on hand backing this many Coast stable tokens. They're very transparent about that. So kudos to them for that. Yeah.
So that part, and then so yeah, that's what I want to talk about too. The catastrophic failure. Like, what is the worst case for some of these protocols or on-ramp services? So that's for CST. And then again, why isn't everything? Why do we just need CST? Why do we just need liquidity protocols? Like why would you use one versus the other? And what does Liquidity bring with Power City and liquid loans?
Okay, so you kind of need all these things. You just need to understand the risks in all of them, right? Now, what is Earn Protocol with PXDC bring to the table? The same thing that USDL brings to the table. The collateral's there, so people have to put in the value for any of these things to be minted. Any of these stable coins that come into existence have to have the value and they're backing it before it's minted into existence. All right, so somebody puts in $1, essentially $1 worth of pulse, and they mint. They actually have to put more than that, but there's always $1 worth of pulse that is able to be gotten for each USDL that's ever in existence. The system keeps itself there at all times. So they're always redeemable. You could have 100 million USDL coins or PXDC coins, and anybody in the community can take their share of those from their wallet and go click a redeem button and get, one guy has $10,000 worth of USDL. He can click one button and get $10,000 worth of pulse instantly in his wallet. He just redeemed. He's back into something else. All right. That's the most critical piece to any stablecoin. And the beauty of these Liquidity forks, Earn Protocol and Liquid Loans, is it's pretty instant. It's as fast as you're able to click the button should you choose to do that. The other thing is the way any liquidations, should they occur, happen. There's no delays. It's pretty instantaneous. As soon as a community member falls below 110%, any other community member, or even somebody who's written a script with a bot, can liquidate that vault. The debt is paid instantly. The collateral is spread across thousands of other participants instantly, and that debt is out of the way, and the entire collateral health goes up because you got this degen guy who was down at 110% out of the system immediately, and everybody benefits from doing that. So everybody in the stability pool just picked up this collateral at a 10% discount. The beauty of it is the arbitrage, the things that keep it stable being the redemption mechanism. All these things are completely on chain and able to be done extremely quickly by anybody who wants to.
So you're minting, you're minting the coins with Liquidity and the protocols using it, Liquid Loan, Power City, and that's taking the pulse. It's kind of is already. You need to have Pulse first or PulseX first to do that. But with CST, for example, you have the fiat on ramp. You take money and you mint a stable coin. So it's like, is that one of the major differences?
It's almost the same thing though, right? So let's think about this for a second. On one hand, with Coast, you need to have a particular dollar value that you bring in, minus all the fees, and you get to mint some stable coins. Okay. And should you choose to go the other direction, you go back the other direction, minus all the fees, and you get back some dollar value. Okay. Now, let's look at a Liquidity fork. It's the same thing. You bring in a dollar value. Now, it's not US dollars, but it's a dollar value of Pulse or PulseX. You bring that in, and it just gets locked in a vault that you get to look at. Any excess collateral that you choose to put in there, you can. That's still yours for the taking if you want to keep it. Because the system only cares about the value you minted. And you mint yourself some stable coins. And you can still go back the other direction. You can pay back your loan, get back your value, get back your Pulse or your PulseX, and go the other direction, minus any fees. But there are no fees for paying back your own debt, by the way. The only fee, there's 2 fees in a Liquidity fork. One for minting, and the other, if you choose to do a redemption, there's a fee that comes with that. But paying back your own loan, getting back some value in Pulse or in PulseX, there's no fees for that.